always want to find the best ways to motivate our children to succeed academically. One common approach is offering financial incentives or rewards for good grades. However, this method, while ultimately effective in the short term, raises important questions about motivation, values, and long-term effects. Should we really be paying our kids for good grades? In this article, we'll explore the psychology behind rewards and whether paying children for academic performance is a good idea. Understanding intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. The first concept to understand when considering whether to pay for grades is the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation. This type of motivation comes from within. A child who is intrinsically motivated does their homework because they are genuinely interested in learning, enjoy the subject matter, or take pride in mastering new skills. Extrinsic motivation. This is motivation driven by external rewards such as money, prizes, or praise. If a child is extrinsically motivated, they may focus on completing tasks for the reward, rather than for the satisfaction of the work itself. Why it's important? Offering money for good grades primarily appeals to extrinsic motivation. While this may encourage short-term performance, it can undermine intrinsic motivation. Over time, children may begin to associate learning with rewards rather than the joy of discovering new things, potentially decreasing their long-term academic interest. What happens? If children are primarily motivated by money, they might complete their homework or assignments simply for a financial reward, without truly engaging with the content. This can reduce the value of education and turn it into a transactional exchange rather than an opportunity for growth. Here's a tip. Foster intrinsic motivation by encouraging curiosity and a love of learning rather than focusing solely on the rewards. The potential negative impact on academic passion. While the idea of paying for good grades may seem like a straightforward incentive, it can have unintended consequences, especially in terms of a child's passion for academics. What's a problem? When children are wired for good grades with money, they may start to see education as a means to an end like earning money, rather than as a valuable skill-building process. This shift can dampen their natural curiosity and interest in subjects they might otherwise enjoy. What happens? Children who are paid for grades may focus solely on the grades themselves and neglect the actual learning process. Over time, they may lose their enthusiasm for subjects that don't offer immediate rewards or for tasks that they don't find inherently motivating. Here's a tip. Instead of focusing solely on grades as rewards, emphasize the intrinsic value of learning. Celebrate effort, creativity, and improvement rather than just the final result. The risk of creating a sense of entitlement. Another important consideration when paying children for good grades is the potential for fostering a sense of entitlement. Why it's a problem? If children get paid for their academic performance, they may come to expect a reward for every accomplishment. This could translate into a mindset where they believe they are entitled to something every time they complete a task or achieve something. This is especially problematic when they enter adulthood, where rewards are often not tied to basic expectations or responsibilities. What happens? As children grow older, they may start to expect compensation for every small success or task they complete, leading to a lack of motivation when rewards are not available. They may also lose sight of the concept of working for personal growth and improvement without expecting external rewards. Here's a tip. Teach your children that learning and achieving academic success are valuable in their own right, and not every action or accomplishment needs to be financially rewarded. Impact on parent-child relationships. The way parents approach reward systems can also affect the relationship with their children. Paying for grades may create a transactional relationship where children perform tasks simply for external rewards, rather than feeling supported and encouraged by their parents in a holistic sense. Why it's a problem? When money is used as a primary incentive for good grades, the focus shifts from emotional and intellectual support to a more impersonal arrangement. This may reduce the opportunity for parents to foster deeper conversations with their children about the importance of education, values, and the work required for success. What happens? The child may come to see their relationship with their parents as more about financial exchange than emotional bonding. Instead of feeling proud of their efforts or feeling support in their learning, they may view their academic performance as merely means to get rewarded. Here's a tip. Focus on positive reinforcement that is not necessarily financial. Praise hard work, perseverance, and curiosity. Create an environment where your child feels that their wealth is not tied to money or material rewards, but to their character and efforts. The long-term consequences. Dependency on external rewards. While offering money for good grades may have short-term benefits, there are long-term consequences to consider. It may lead to an over-reliance on external motivation, which can hinder the development of internal motivation and self-discipline. What's the problem? Over time, children who are paid for good grades may become dependent on external rewards to accomplish their tasks. This means that when there are no external rewards, they may struggle to motivate themselves to do the work. What happens? As children grow older and transition to higher education or the workforce, they may find it challenging to stay motivated without the promise of an external reward. This can result in difficulties with self-regulation, procrastination, and a lack of intrinsic motivation to pursue meaningful goals. Here's a tip. Encourage your child to set personal goals and take pride in their academic achievements, not because of the reward, but because they have worked hard to achieve something meaningful. While paying children for good grades may seem like an effective way to motivate them, the long-term effects on their intrinsic motivation, sense of entitlement, and relationship with education can be detrimental. Rather than focusing on external rewards, it's more beneficial to cultivate a love of learning, celebrate effort, and emphasize the importance of personal growth and self-discipline. Furthermore, by fostering intrinsic motivation, parents can help their children develop a genuine passion for learning that will last well beyond their school years.